excited. It's Sumo Springs Day. Do note, I have adult supervision. Hi, Sydney, and a doggy to help me. Let's get to it. So this is what I have. The Sumo Springs kit, my tire jack, a standard screwdriver, and a hammer. I ended up using a smaller standard screwdriver and a hammer that I'm showing you here. First thing to do, put the handbrake on. You are going to notice that I struggled a bit with the tire jack. Turns out the connections had been removed from underneath the vehicle, and clearly I need to do my homework on how to make this tire jack work properly with Betty. However, I was able to raise the vehicle up enough to do the Sumo Spring install. I didn't take the tire off at all. So the first one I'm doing is in the rear driver's side area. You can see the little holding area for the gray tank hoses, etc. I'm going to take you underneath so we can take a closer look at what's going on under there. So here we are. I'm looking from the rear to the front, and there you see the bump stop that I'm going to be replacing. You'll see I have a nice gap between it and the suspension leaf. And while we're down there, there's the little switch to drain the water tank. I kind of like looking at everything underneath here. I need to do it more often. It's going to get a little noisy. So what I'm doing here is literally just tapping that collar around the bump stop to loosen it up a bit. Then you take the screwdriver and you hook it into little notches. Here I'm going to show you. There are these little notches on the bump stop. You hook the screwdriver into the notches and you tap on the end of the screwdriver so that the bump stop can turn clockwise to loosen it. And when it's loose enough, you can just literally unscrew it by hand. It's moving. There we go. Yep. There, it's done. You can see it didn't require very much effort at all. I do believe that the more mileage you have on the vehicle, the harder it is to take these things off. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take the Sumo Spring and just do a dry fit to make sure that you can get it in, that there's no problems, and that you have enough clearance. You'll notice on the Sumo Spring, I left both of the plastic bits on top. I'm using it at full height. You can remove one of them and put in a new screw bit. Not all my technical terms. Anyway, there I am doing a dry fit. Yep, there's enough room. And it's going to work. So the kit actually comes with loctite that you put on the bolt. I forgot to shoot it originally, so I'm just showing it to you now. But you put the Loctite on the end of the bolt before you go ahead and do your actual install. It doesn't glue it in, it just holds things in place. The trickiest bit for me was actually finding the hole. I was doing it blind, and I was trying to not get my head in front of the camera. So once you actually get it to catch, it's really simple. You just screw it in. And you only want to do it until it's hand tight. There are no tools required. So, easy peasy. I'm going to show you a little clip, I think, of, I'm going to get out of the way, and show you a clip of the jack being taken down and the pressure being reapplied on the Sumo Springs. It's kind of fun to watch. Okay. So the second one we're going to do is the rear passenger side, and my adult supervision is actually going to do that one because why should I be having all the fun? He's basically going to just repeat the process that I just did on the other side, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit. But while we watch that taking place, you all might be wondering why I decided to install the Sumo Springs. So if you've been doing your homework, then you'll understand. If you don't know what they are, a lot of people that own Class B RVs in particular are replacing their bump stops with the Sumo Springs for several reasons. First and foremost is for better stability, decreasing sway. They are supposed to help with towing capacity and also with heavy loads. And as you know, I carry a lot of stuff. The added bonus is because they are bigger, generally it increases the lift and the clearance just a tad. Okay, so now I've switched up camera angles. We're actually now looking from the middle of the vehicle, looking towards the rear. We're shooting through the jack, and you can see in the back that red tape is actually holding on the sensors to the fresh water tank. So as you can tell, the actual process is super simple. It's literally unscrewing one thing and screwing in another. For me, the hardest part was raising the vehicle, hence the need for adult supervision. Please do not attempt to do this alone. At least have somebody on standby. You're wriggling around under a very heavy load. So I did two things to determine the success. Actually, I did three. I did this install right before a trip up to North Carolina from Florida, which is pretty mountainous, lots of elevation, lots of windy roads. And I will say I was very pleased with how well she handled. So that was a success as far as I'm concerned. The second thing I did was take a measurement. I put a tape measure under the rear bumper and locked it down. Did that before the install. And then I took the same tape measure post-install, put it in place, and looked at the difference. And as you can see, there was about 1.25 inch difference. Not huge, but nice to have. And if I get the same by putting them on the front, that would be great, because I have concerns about the cover for the underhood generator. So this is where Hula Girl comes in. She normally sits in the front on the dash when we're driving around. However, for this highly scientific experiment, I placed her in the rear of the vehicle. She's in the same place for both of these videos. The video on the left is pre-Sumo Springs, and the video on the right is post-Sumo Springs. And I drove the same specific track for both of these takes, so that we could have a visual comparison on just how much sway the back of the vehicle was getting or not getting. So I think it was highly successful. I'll leave the judgment up to you. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and put links to the model number of the Sumo Springs that I've just installed and the ones that I'm going to order the coils for the front. Thanks so much. Hope this was helpful. Till next time. Bye-bye. And we can get to it from here without this being in the way. Let me see where I can get this guy in. I'm going to just let it run. Oh, this is perfect. Okay.
It will kill you. Oh, yeah. This thing's got 4 inches of gap.
Okay.
So.
Success! Sumos are on! Woohoo!